Okay, let's look at order of operations with decimals. So my first problem says 2.3 squared minus 0.3 times 4.6. So if you go back to order of operations, you have to do your parentheses first, then your exponents, and then you multiply and divide from left to right. So that means you could divide first or multiply first, whichever one's on the left, and then add or subtract again from left to right. So when I'm looking at this problem right here, I see that I have an exponent, okay? I see I have subtract, and I see I have a multiply. So I've got those three operations that need to be done. So my first one is going to be the operation for the exponents, which is 2.3 squared. So you can use your calculator on these. Remember that you are allowed to use a calculator. So 2.3 squared, that means 2.3 times 2.3. So on my calculator, when I multiply 2.3 times 2.3, I get 5 and 29 hundredths minus 0.3 times 4.6. So I've taken care of this one. Okay, so now I have to take care of my multiply. So my multiply is right here. So I'm going to multiply these two together. So that's 4.6, or 4 6/10 times 3/10. Okay, so 3/10 times 4 6/10, and that is 1 38 hundredths. So I get 5 and 29 hundredths minus 1 and 38 hundredths. And so I'll subtract now. That's my last operation. So I took care of this one. So now I'm on subtract. So I get 5 and 29 hundredths minus 1 and 38 hundredths, and that gives me 3 and 91 hundredths. So there is an example for that problem. Let's try another one. Let me look at this one. Okay, here's a good one. So there's example number 1. Let's look at example number 2. So for example number 2, my problem says 8 and 52 hundredths minus 5/10 squared plus 6 and 7/10. Okay, so go back. I have to do parentheses first, then exponents, multiply and divide from left to right, and subtract from left to right. So I don't have any parentheses. I do have an exponent right here, and then I see a subtract, and I see an add. Okay, so when I'm looking at those, I would do the subtract first, then the add, because I go from left to right. I don't have any multiply and divide. So we'll have to take care of the exponent first. So I will have to calculate 5/10 squared. So again, I can use my calculator, and I get 25 hundredths. That's 5/10 squared. So I'll have 8 and 52 hundredths minus 25 hundredths plus 6 and 7/10. Okay, so I took care of this one. So now I have my add subtract first, and I've got both an add and a subtract, but remember you do the left one, then the right one. So I'll take my 8 and 52 hundredths minus 25 hundredths, and I get 8 and 27 hundredths. And then to that I'm going to add 6 and 7/10. And so my final answer is 14 and 97 hundredths.